Thank you for sticking around. Welcome to the new release rundown. We are joined by Javion from Mox Boarding House again.
Yep.
Thank you for coming back. We're
you for
excited to
having
have
me
you
again.
back.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to how many metric bucket loads of dice you would have brought this time to be excited about.
I brought a few, more than last time.
A few metric
so,
bucket loads.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
it'll be fun.
Anything you want to say about yourself or Mox before we get into the new games?
Yeah. So my name's Javion. I've been board gaming for about the past 6 years almost. I love teaching board games and I love playing board games, and I really love dice. So I brought as many as I could today. Also, I'm working at Mox Boarding House. That's why I'm here, representing them. I'm wearing the jacket and everything.
They permitted you to attend?
Yeah. Yeah, so Mox Boarding House is basically this giant board game store, but we also have a cafe and also Card Kingdom right next to it. We actually work really closely with Card Kingdom. We used to be Card Kingdom, now we're two places at once. And Card Kingdom just does Magic the Gathering stuff. But yeah, we do
so they're an
miniatures
online retailer, and so you work in the Ballard location for Mox, and it's a game store with a cafe. There's also one in Bellevue that has a full restaurant.
That's right.
And
we also have one in Portland, and it'll be open real soon, hopefully in November, but anything can happen, so we're really, really hoping for November.
all right, you gonna place bets on that?
Oh God, no, I'm definitely not doing that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Too many things can go wrong too many times.
All right, so you want to get into some new games, because you brought a whole bunch of games this time.
That's right, yeah.
So
I brought a
what
bunch.
would you like to jump into first?
Let's jump into a game with many faces. Let's start with Mr. Face. I'm gonna reach over here. All right,
Okay.
cool. So this game is called Mr. Face.
All right.
It is an Oink game. Oink Games is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Famous, I suppose.
Small,
for making
distinctive?
small games. Usually casual, usually like party games and stuff like that. This one's no different. This one is a party game. You have to have at least 3 people to play. It goes up to 6. And the idea is that it's kind of like a Jackbox party game, or like Dixit if you've ever played that, where you're trying to depict a card by either manipulating little pieces of a face, like eyebrows and eyeballs and mouths and things like that, on a face board.
So are you basically trying to make an emoji?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
You're trying to make an emoji, and then I'm going to guess you want some of the people to get it, but not all the people to get it.
Actually, you want as many people to get it. This is much different than Dixit in this way.
Okay.
You want everybody to guess it correctly, so you want to be as accurate as possible.
Okay.
The problem is that other people are going to toss their own little prompts in there to mix in with yours. So I might have a prompt that's like, oh, this guy's been talking forever. And then I'll make the face of the emoji, and then everybody else is going to be like, okay, that kind of looks like this card that I have. That's like, oh no, I really have to go to the bathroom. So you put that card in, you'll add some random ones in, you'll shuffle up all the cards together, you put them out, and everybody votes on which one they think is the original one, just like in Dixit.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's an alternative way to play the game as well. You can play with selfies. You can just make a face and then take a picture and then put that in the front of the table, in the middle of the table.
All right. All right.
And then everybody uses that to sort of decide what prompt or phrase or whatever is the original.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the spite level for this game is pretty low.
It's very low, yeah. I mean, you're trying to get other people to guess yours, so it's on the low side, but it's moderately higher than some of the other games that I'm going to show you later.
Okay.
So there is some trickery going on.
Okay. But this is it's a party game. It's a very silly game. It's
Very
an Oink game, so it's going to be very small, compact, and kind of straightforward.
Yeah, exactly.
Who else would you kind of recommend this for?
Well, if you like games like Dixit or other like guessing games like Codenames or Mysterium, it's kind of like that. Or if you like the Jackbox party games, it's very much one of those.
And as an Oink game, this is going to be pretty cheap too.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what the price point is?
It's about $20.
Okay, great. What would you like to do next?
Let us talk about another cute game. It's going to be Action Cat. Or actually,
Pups?
no, it's not Action Cats, it's Action Pups. Yeah.
I mean,
I got
they
confused.
did the cats first, obviously.
Yes, this is the sequel to Action Cats. That's why I got it confused. Action Pups is an apples to apples type game. So you've ever heard of like Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity, Super Fight, stuff like that, where there's a judge. This game is a lot like that. It's made by two Gather Games. So they made Action Cats, Illimat, a lot of surprising games. Yeah, exactly. A lot of
They
surprising
have a
games.
wide gamut.
Yeah, right. So if you like those designers, it's made by the same people. So the idea is that you're going to have one person be the judge.
Yep.
And that person is going to pick a dog picture card and put that one down. And everybody else is going to make up a story for that pup by playing their cards. There's the white side and the black side, and we'll combine them together. So you might have something that's like, oh, this pup is hanging out with a bunch of 20-something-year-olds in a van solving mysteries.
Okay, sure.
And also...
As dogs do.
Right? I think they're going for something very specific with that one. And then also, they have 24 hours to save the world.
Okay.
Or like, oh, this one tames dinosaurs for a living, but also is just in it for the hats. So you have lots of very cute things.
Now, I remember that the Action Cats Kickstarter had people, backers could put their cats in the game.
Right.
Did they do that with this one? Do you know if these are
I
all
actually
backers'
don't know.
dogs?
I have to assume they probably did because, I mean, it was so successful last time they did it. So you might see a lot of people named inside the game.
Okay.
It's very possible.
Well, so a game with a whole bunch of cards of cute dogs,
Right.
I can only conclude, has maximum spite level.
No.
No?
Yeah,
Inaccurate?
it's very low.
Okay.
You might be like, talking, about other people's stories and how their story isn't as good as yours or something like that. But for the most part, you're just embellishing your own story and trying to get the judge to see how awesome your pup is.
Can you combine Action Cats and Action Pups together to prove that cats are better?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
That sounds super
empirically
fun.
proven?
Yeah, I
Great.
don't see why you wouldn't be able to do
Excellent.
that.
Then hopefully they can produce the sequel to that, and we can settle that for all of history.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see action lizards.
It's going to be
Action reptiles.
It's going to be a very niche market for you. Action snake, I don't think it's going to be real big.
Nope. Okay, just me then.
Yeah.
I want action turtles
Yep.
then. Okay, well, yeah. So if you like apples to apples type games.
Okay. So like family-friendly party game kind of judging thing.
Yep, 3 to 6 players, very family friendly.
Great. What would you like to do next?
Let's head over to this side and let's talk about Deadly Doodles. I say deadly, but it's really just deadly.
Okay.
Deadly Doodles. You can open that up if you want to. Yeah, so this game is more less of like a doodling game. You are doodling. You're using a whiteboard and you got a dry erase marker and you're drawing on the whiteboard these different paths.
So is this a roll and write?
It's not a roll and write because it only uses cards.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's more like a flip and write.
Flip and draw.
Yeah, flip and draw. A draw and draw.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so what you do is you take 4 cards and you spread them out. So everybody can see
very
them.
cute.
It's a Steve Jackson game. So it's lots of really good art. So you put all of the 4 cards out.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Here you go. Yeah, you put all the cards out, the 4 cards, and everybody has to draw all 4 of those cards on their board. But you can't have a path going into the wall, and you can't draw more than one path on the same square. So you're just adding to these paths.
So you're basically playing Snake.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're drawing like, this is what you have to draw into your tiles.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're drawing these paths through the different objects, like weapons and monsters and loot, and the dragon that's at the center. It's really simple because you have letters on the weapons that correspond with the monster that you want. You don't want to go through a monster unless you also have the weapon. At the end of the game, you'll score based on where you drew your paths through. If you can get through the dragon at the center, you'll double all the money that you get from all these loot bags that you can cross through.
Okay. And it seems like there's also some cards that will pop up that will, I assume you just have to draw 2 tiles?
Yep, you just draw an extra 2 cards so that you have to draw more.
Trap is now you just can't go through that tile?
Trap is the spike factor for this game. If you
activate someone's trap card.
No.
No?
the trap card everybody gets to use. And
so everybody has a trap card you get to activate?
Yes.
Okay.
And everybody has a chance to activate the trap card.
Okay.
So what you do is you draw the trap on your board with an X anywhere you want to that you haven't already put your path.
Sure.
You never want to cross over your own trap, obviously. But if anybody else does, at the end of the game, you'll be like, I put my trap here. Did anybody cross over that? And if they did, they lose a bunch of points.
Okay.
So you can force people to like lose points if you're trying to.
So you do activate a trap card. All right, undeniable.
You activated my trap.
Somebody didn't erase this.
Was that me?
How could they? Who would do
I think
this?
that was me. Well, I had so much fun playing, I forgot to.
That you wanted to permanently record. I think you're a cheater.
Well, I'm just very proud of my score because I did win that game.
Okay.
It was a pretty high score. I got all the loot bags and I got the dragon. Just saying.
So as a flip and draw, not going to be a whole lot of direct spite.
Right,
Although,
just the
like
traps.
The trap seems like a cute thing you can do, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's
Like
not
you
going
can
to
put
be
the traps down on the entrances. So if anybody goes through the entrance, you're like, oh, well, guess what? I knew you were going to do that. Now you lose a bunch of points.
But it's not going to be a very high spite, like you're screwing with someone through the whole game.
Right. You just want to keep your board hidden so nobody else sees what you're drawing, so they can't like put a trap down where they already know you're going and things like that.
I guess that means you get to see the cute art.
Yeah, exactly.
So, fans of Roll and Writes obviously should check this out. But
Fans of Steve Jackson games as
Okay.
well, because if you like the art style, it's made by the same people.
do you know of another Roll and Write that it might be like?
Yeah, it's like kind of like Railroad Ink.
Okay.
It's a game where you roll dice and you're like drawing these little paths for.
Is it
your
called
railroads and
Railroad
stuff
Ink
like that.
with a K?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a business, but you draw.
Exactly. Yeah, but you're drawing with ink.
You're supposed to appreciate the
I
pun
do.
a little stronger.
Don't worry,
I want some emotive.
I appreciate you, Derek, and all your puns.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you liked, if you really like Railroad Ink,
Mm-hmm.
or if you like other like really simple like casual party games.
Okay. So this is a very simple Roll and Write.
Yeah.
Or flip and draw. Okay.
Draw and draw.
And this seems, because it's so simple, this is also another like very family-friendly game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot of like complexity to it as well, so it's really easy to just like pick up and play with anybody.
Great.
Put this one back.
What's next?
Next up. Actually, I had a quick question for you. Do you know what time it is? Can you check the time real fast?
There's a clock.
Oh, yes. Okay, so then you might say that it's around 12:52. Wrong. It's morphin time.
I don't know what just happened.
This
But
is a Power
it
Rangers
happened.
game. It's a Power Rangers game. So, yeah, the Power Rangers board game. It's called Heroes of the Grid.
Okay. All right.
So what you do is you actually get to be the Power Rangers. You take on the role of all the different Power Rangers, and you
Sure.
have to fight Rita Repulsa.
You realize, like, literally the only thing I know about Power Rangers is make my monster grow.
Great.
That's it.
You're going to learn so much about Power Rangers today.
Okay. Fantastic.
Great. So,
This is a really large box.
yes, there's so much stuff in it. It is a huge game. There's so many really big minis and pieces and cards and bits. Yeah. So what you're doing is you're taking on the role of the Power Rangers. It's a co-op game. You're all working together to defeat all the monsters. It's a very family-friendly game.
Does that guy have a knife and a fork
I think.
coming out of his mouth?
Yeah. No, he totally does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I think he's one of the
Learning a
putty
lot
patrollers.
Yep. Learning a lot about the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So it's a cooperative game. There's a bunch of miniatures.
That's right. Rita
Okay.
Repulsa is trying to take over Angel Grove.
But
so
it-
you have
so-
to save all of the citizens.
But it doesn't look
the
like there's
grid.
a map or anything. Like they're not like a tactical map. So it's not a tactical miniature.
Yeah, there's just locations
Okay.
around the board.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are specific
So the miniatures
locations.
are just cool.
Yes, they're very cool. They're also functional. You have to place them down where they like pop up. So you'll flip cards to see where the enemy foot soldiers deploy, and then of course eventually get to the monsters, and eventually, if you get all the way to the end without dying, you get the boss Rita Repulsa, and you have to fight her as well.
Okay.
And as everybody knows, one of the best parts about being a Power Ranger is that you get to make a Megazord if you all combine
Yeah.
your powers.
Yep.
So if you can defeat a bunch of foot soldiers and level up a bunch of times from all the experience that you get to make your Megazord.
Do they ever do? Eventually, they did Gigazords, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Of course.
They're really cool.
It's silly of me to even ask.
Yeah. You assemble all the different Power Rangers. Like the red one might be like the head, and
Sure.
the yellow foot and like the black arm and stuff like that. And they all assemble like the chest piece and stuff like that.
Sure.
So yeah, you don't actually assemble a Megazord. It's really just a card, but you still got the Megazord token that you can, or miniature that you put onto the board. Yeah, it's a very simple game too. There's only like a few phases. Like, you put the foot soldiers out, and then everybody takes their turn, move, battle, and then clean up.
Okay. So,
Just over and over again. Rinse and repeat.
cooperative game, you said. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say the spite level for this is very low.
That's a fair.
There's not
assumption
a
to
whole lot of
make, yeah.
spite on this table yet.
You can spite the enemies that attacked you, and you can get rid of the panic tokens.
So
I suppose.
in spite of that, there's not much spite in here.
No.
Okay.
Co-op game.
Yes. So it's a co-op game.
Would you like me to bring more spiteful
No,
games?
no,
Is that,
no,
is that
no,
what you're
no.
trying to say?
I'm not subtly hinting that you should give me more opportunities to betray you as we play.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. But So this is obviously like people who grew up with Power Rangers should absolutely be playing this, right?
Totally. Absolutely. If you grew up with the Power Rangers, if you like the shows and stuff like that, you want to be a Power Ranger. Or if you want to play a co-op game with your family. And this is for all ages.
Yeah,
too.
what I was going to say is you said it was very simple.
Yeah.
So this is a way for people who grew up with the Power Rangers to maybe share some of that with their kids?
Exactly. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. The forgotten era. Yep. So Power Rangers, 2 to 5 players, co-op game. It's also relatively short too.
So does it play like any other game? So that, like, I guess my question is, if you're not a Power Rangers fan, if you didn't grow up with them,
Sure.
you know, I didn't watch them. Is there another game that this might be like that might lure me in and like send me down the rabbit hole of deep Power Rangers lore?
Yeah, so it's a Renegade game, and Renegade makes lots and lots of different games. So you can try one of theirs. You can also play something like Castle Panic. It's a cooperative
so it's like
tower
that?
defense thing. Yeah, because there's enemies coming from all sides. You got to defeat all of them.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Cool. So yeah, like knowing that it's like Castle Panic helps a lot too.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
What would you like to do next?
All right, I got a game just for you.
Oh really?
Derek.
Is it Jaws?
Dun.
All right, hold on. Don't we have to like do this?
Dun. 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 Ah!
And you specifically instructed me to open this box.
No, I said don't open the box. It's taped down. You can't open it.
No,
I'm sorry.
I just heard
I'm
open
sorry.
the box.
No, I got to bring this back to Mox later.
Sure.
Okay, so Jaws, the board game.
I hear a lot of really good stuff about this game.
Good. Yeah, it's true. It's really, really fun. It's got the cinematic feel of Jaws, so you're playing through the movie. You've got Act 1 that takes place in Amity Island, and you play all the different characters of the movie. And the best part,
Now that they have zoomed in, I'm gonna hold on. Whoop.
there you go. The best part.
So Act 1 is the island.
The best part is that you get to be the shark. You get to swim around the island eating people. So one person is the shark, and everybody else is all the different like characters working together to try to beat the
So
shark.
I heard it's like hidden movement, kind of like Fury of Dracula.
Yes. Yeah. So, or like Scotland Yard, another Ravensburg game. Yeah. So one person is trying to hide their movement while also eating a bunch of people, and eventually they'll reveal remove these people from these locations, and they're like, oh no, you ate so many of our people. So then what you got to do is the people who are actually trying to save the island are going to run around collecting barrels, passing them to each other, and then throwing them at the shark. And if you can deal enough damage to the shark, you move on to round 2. Or if the shark eats enough people, then the shark triggers that.
Okay.
Triggers that, where everybody moves on to round 2 together, or Act 2, I suppose. In Act 2, you're on the boat. And that famous scene where the shark is literally eating chunks of the boat, and you're fending it off, so you have to actually fight the shark player.
Okay.
So what you do is you're trying to predict where the shark is going to go next. You'll place your character there, and it's really cool because you'll see the different options that the shark has, and you'll choose one of them. You'll place your character down, and you'll play a card on that space to show, okay, if the shark really does come here, these are the consequences.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first thing is that the shark decides where it's going to go, and then everybody else chooses where they think it's going to go, and then damage. So the shark might eat the people. Shark might eat the boat. So if the shark can actually just defeat all of the different player characters, the shark wins.
Okay.
And based on Act 1, how well the shark did, it'll get more powers and it'll get stronger. So you want to like mitigate that as much as possible on the start.
So it seems like they did a really good job of marrying the mechanics and the theme. to
Yes.
this. I've only heard great stuff about production quality and how the game works and whatnot.
Yeah.
But again, like it does really remind me of Fury of Dracula and Scotland Yard. How does it compare to those games in like complexity or ease of pickup or strategy?
Well, Fury of Dracula is a little bit more complicated, but Scotland Yard is made to be like a classic game. So I would say this one is really towing that line between like a medium style game to like a hard one. But I feel like any family could pick it up together as long as somebody figures it out. One of the parents could figure it out.
So like
and
maybe
teach it to
less complex than Fury of Dracula?
Yes, definitely less complex, more stuff to do, and I would say it's
More
really
accessible?
It's more accessible,
Okay.
because more people know about like the movie Jaws than like the lore of Dracula and stuff like that. But also, it's very suspenseful and dramatic. So if you're really into like horror games and stuff like that, you might also like it because there's always a danger of the shark eating people.
So this is an asymmetrical game where one player is the shark, all the other players are cooperating, 100% cooperating to defeat the shark.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So if
Hey, what's up, Parsley?
You gotta be careful. So if you want a co-op game, if you want that one versus all aspect to it, kind of like Mysterium, then dang it, we're just
Wait, hold on. Did you just say Mysterium was one versus all?
not verse. I suppose it's
I
not
don't-
really versus all, but
Do you keep losing Mysterium? Because I think I might know why.
no, I'm really good at Mysterium. Mysterium is like this game though, because Mysterium is that one ghost, and everybody else is the players.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of asymmetric games. And Fury of Dracula has a lot of kind of renown around it.
Exactly.
And again, the word in this is great. We did have this on the preview at Gen Con 2, so if people want to go look at the video on demand or our YouTube channel, we do have like an hour with Ravensburger where they went through Jaws and Horrified, and they may have touched on a third game, but I can't recall. But you can get a lot more detail from the publishers directly in that video too.
Awesome.
Great. So what's next?
All right, let's talk about Parsley, the one that keeps trying to fall down on me.
Okay.
So this game is an RPG based on text adventures. It's actually more of like a reboot or remake than it is like a new game. It's made by Jared, what's his last name on there? Sorensen, yeah. Jared Sorensen, and he's made some other stuff in the past. He's worked for lots of different companies, but this is something that he made like a long time ago, back in 2009, and it's got like it's a reboot.
Well, he's been running this at PAX for many years, where he'll have a theater room, a panel room of hundreds of people, and they'll just kind of line up at the microphone to play through the text choices.
That's awesome.
In the game.
Yeah, PAX is actually coming up in like a week. I didn't even know that. That's cool. I'm gonna check him out.
I don't know if
while
he's
I'm there.
still running it. I know he used to do that a fair amount, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if he does it at every PAX now.
Cool. Awesome. Well, it's definitely a thing you could do at like, any convention or even a party game. That's the way he describes in the beginning of the book. I'm crazy about this game because it's really, really simple in terms of like the rules and getting started. As long as like anybody has ever played a text adventure game before on one of those like 8-bit really old like 80s computers.
Where it's like, you type north to go north, and you have to
Exactly.
kind of remember what's happening.
Exactly. It's like that, but in real life. So you're giving like 1, 2, or even like 3-word commands like go east or examine fishing pole or something like that. So, and it's also like very snarky and very humorous. So if somebody says something like cast fishing pole, you can be like, you don't know that spell yet. So you have to say something like, oh, use fishing pole, and then it actually like works. So it comes, like the majority of this book is actually just adventures to run. So he encourages you to like memorize those adventures and not even have any paper out, no dice, nothing. Just like you and a bunch of people at a party or at a convention or just like in the comfort of your own board game store. So
So Action Castle, I think he has Action Castle 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, as well as a bunch of other
Yeah,
adventures.
those were some of the first ones I think that he pushed a lot.
Exactly, yeah. And you get to like run through those here. Action Castle 1 is really, really simple. You just go through like a bunch of different things like fighting a goblin and a guard and a ghost and courting the princess and becoming the ruler of Action Castle. I hope I'm not spoiling too much for this game.
So I mean, just because you were saying it was very simple.
Yeah.
So these are the rules. They start on page 7.
Yep.
They end on page 14.
Exactly.
And like that is the entirety of the rules.
Exactly.
And then the rest of this is scenarios and details for you to
Adventures.
kind of remember about things that when you're going to present them.
Yeah, you can fill up your inventory with lots of cool items that you can use on different characters. You can ask them lots of questions and stuff like that, but it's all very straightforward and very simple. It can get a little frustrating at times if you don't pick that exact right wording and options.
Yeah,
at
but
any
that's
given moment,
literally
but-
what the text games were like.
Exactly, so you get to feel like you're playing one of them.
Well, I hadn't realized that he'd done so many like further adventures because he used to publish these as like trifolds or like pamphlets.
Yeah, pamphlets, yeah. Brochures and stuff like that. And now it's actually got its like realized like book, and you can see like some of the art, it shows like books and stuff like that of Action Castle and stuff like that.
Yep, collected together, a bunch of art in there. The graphic design, if you look at it, is extremely text adventure-y. Your little icons on the left there. It's very old school if you are the kind of person who used a computer back in the day.
Yeah.
So this is basically not quite a role-playing game.
It kind of is.
You're not really role-playing, but you are kind of as a group, and potentially an extremely large group,
Right.
you're adventuring through a story together.
You do take on the role of one character in the game, but everybody's controlling that character. And then you're just talking to, well, I wouldn't really call it the dungeon master, more like a game master, really, the parser, about what you want to do, or like telling them your commands. And the parser acts as the computer running those commands through the system and telling you what outcomes. Or if you're going back to the same room you already went to, repeating the same flavor text over and over and over again. It can be really funny, like humorous game if you really get into it.
Well, I would really recommend this to people who play text adventure games.
Right.
Want to inflict text adventure games on people who didn't play them.
Oh yeah.
Or people who like role-playing games and want to have a party game,
Yes.
but don't want to go the board game route for that.
Exactly. If you're looking for a very lighthearted RPG.
Very good for conventions, too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a party game, kind of.
It's exciting to see all of his kind of stuff bundled together in one book.
It's really, really cool that there's so many adventures in there to run. So you can run out of content, but that will take like a really, really long time to do.
Sure.
And you can also make your own. It's really simple.
Well,
like
also the point
template.
is to do it again with a new group of people.
Exactly.
Great. What's next?
All right. Let's head on over to. Well, I'm gonna make sure this one doesn't.
Wait,
load.
do we only have 2 games left?
Yep.
We only have 2 games left.
Roll for adventure. All right. Hello, dice.
Let's just open it up. Let's just crack it open.
No,
first.
Derek, why do you want to open all my games?
Are you saying you don't want to open them?
Yeah, I do, but I gotta bring these back. I brought as many of my own copies as I could.
Sure.
Sorry, not this one. This one, Roll for Adventure. It is another cooperative game in which everybody's working together to save the Old Kingdom from the Master of Shadows.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to collect lots of power stones. This is
Yeah,
a
of course,
very
absolutely, as you do.
yeah, it's a very, very core fantasy game. It's very middle of the road mainstream stuff.
Sure.
So it's if you don't want anything like super obscure, this game doesn't take into account like any of like the weird stuff that other people have made. So it's very accessible if you really like straight up fantasy.
Okay.
The idea.
Adventurers going on adventures, rolling for adventure.
Yes. Adventure, adventure, adventure. What you're doing is that you're rolling these dice to try to get the right results, kind of like Yahtzee. You can do some rerolls and stuff like that, and placing them on the board at different locations so that you can not only collect power stones and defeat the Master of Shadows, but also stop the monsters that are threatening to kill you.
Sure.
And each player, it goes up to 4, so each player will sit in front of one of these 4 different sections of the diamond. And if you take too much damage from your section, then everybody loses.
Okay.
So it's sort of like a survival game in that you have to help each other mitigate how much damage they're taking from any different like direction. So what you can do is like you can place dice on any section of the board, which means you can help anybody you want to, including yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, to defeat those different monsters, and they have lots of different abilities that will deal extra damage based on how many monsters there are,
So
or
as-
how
as-
well
as a dice
the Master
game?
of Shadows is doing.
Is the dice game, is it fairly random? Is it fairly fast?
It's very fast-paced. All you got to do is roll the dice, decide where it's going to go. There's a lot of decision-making,
Okay.
But there's not really like a timer running out or anything like that, so you can sort of take your time.
Okay.
But it's fully cooperative, so the entire time you're just strategizing with each other about what placement you should use.
So to confirm, again, no spite.
Nope.
All right.
Only good times with this game and any other co-op game. Nothing but good vibes.
Yeah, and so is this like any other co-op games? Because like aren't there other Roll for Adventures or Roll for
Yeah.
games?
Yeah. Have you ever
Is
played
it
like
Roll for America and stuff like that? Are they related in any way?
that one's more of a roll and write
Okay.
game, and it's competitive. Elder Sign, or maybe even Dice Throne. If you play the new campaign that came out on Kickstarter,
Sure.
You're rolling dice and you're placing these dice in different sections where you're trying to beat the game based on the results that you get, and you're manipulating the dice. Yeah. So Elder Sign is a lot like this one, but there's also like Castle Panic, another co-op game where you're like fighting off the different monsters and stuff like that.
But again, so Elder Sign and you said Dice Throne campaign mode. People who have gotten really into those should check out Roll for Adventure.
Exactly. Yeah. Or even like another like dice rolling game that I really like Dice Forge. Or if you just really like dice like me, then you
really
get to
like
do
dice
lots
like
and lots
him.
of dice rolling.
Then roll some dice.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's 2 to 4 players. It's fairly simple. It doesn't go into huge detail. Only thing you really have to memorize is like, oh, what my player like ability is, my special
Each
hero
players
ability and
will
stuff like that.
each player gets a special hero who has a special power?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So like being able to reroll other people's dice, or being able to use your dice on other people's turns and stuff like that, or manipulate the dice.
Great. I can see why you brought that. And what, we have one game left, is that right? You're trying to hide behind these games. You're not, when you're on here, you're not permitted to build a wall of games that you can. Will you get
I
that
want
over
I
there?
want my board game fortress.
You can have your board game
fort.
fortress at home, but on New Release Rundown, we are going to see your beautiful face as you smile and tell us about dice.
Okay.
So what's next?
Actually, hang on one second.
Boy.
Before we move on to my favorite game, I have a question for you, Derek.
Yes.
Are you a robot?
No.
You answered that really quickly.
Yes.
Sounds like something a robot would say.
No.
I think there's only one real way to settle this.
Yes.
This is a game called Are You a Robot? It is a micro game by Looney Labs. It's very hard for me to show you because it's so small, but it's pocket-sized. And
Yeah, my wife is in chat, real excited, because she claims that I am a robot.
oh, really?
Yep.
Well, great.
See? Is
Well, we're gonna decide once and for all whether or not Derek is a robot.
that a roster robot? Oh no, it's just a lady with braids.
No, she just got dreadlocks and a bandana. That's all.
So,
So this is a very simple micro game. The selling point from Looney Labs is that it's 2 players, 2 minutes, $2. So it's very cheap, very simple. There's only 3 cards, and
that's
that's the
3
entire
twos
game.
though.
That's true. So, I don't know what you want me to say. I'm sorry, it's just 3 twos. There's 3 cards, 2 humans and a robot. You shuffle them up, you deal them out randomly. I'll take this one, and I'll show you guys what I got. All right, so the entire game is played by talking, and at some point, either I'm gonna offer to shake your hand, or I'm gonna shoot you.
Okay.
So that means robots only win if they don't get shot.
Sure.
And they want to shake hands with a human.
Sure.
But humans can only win if they shake hands with another human or shoot the robot.
Okay.
So if you accidentally shake hands with the robot never lets go.
Sure.
So you're just like holding on tight, and you're just like, oh no, what have I done?
That just means you have a boon companion for the rest of your life.
Sure. Yeah. Forever.
Don't you want
Best friends
Don't you
forever.
want a robot friend forever?
I do. Not in this game, maybe though.
Robot friend forever?
Sure.
I escaped.
Too bad. I should have held on because I was a robot.
Yep. Yep.
But if you're a human and you think your opponent's a robot, you want to shoot them. You want to say zap, like that. So if I was a human, we'd shaking hands. We both would.
I just want the record to show that I was a human and not a robot.
Sorry, I had to trick you like that.
Nelly.
Yeah. So it turns out I was the robot. Oh well.
But I escaped.
Yeah, technically. I guess you did. I guess you did escape. Good job,
That's in the
Derek.
expansion.
If you can pull your hand away, you still win. Sure.
Yep.
Why not?
Yep. I play by 6-year-old rules.
Oh, okay. Well, that actually makes a lot of sense, given what I know about you. So it's a Looney Labs game. It's very tiny micro game. They also have a bunch of other micro games as well. If you want to check out their website.
Looney Labs is also the people who make Flux. So.
Flux, Chrononauts, Lunacy, Aquarius. There's lots of Looney Labs games, and they're all very simple, casual games, just like this one. So
Great.
also, if you like Mafia or Werewolf or Resistance or Avalon, anything like that, you can play this game and you'll have a lot of fun. And it's not just a 2-player game. It actually ends up being more of like a group game if you buy more of these. So it's only a $2 game, but it ends up being like a 3 or a 4-player game if you add more of them in. So you can buy a bunch of them for relatively low cost, and you can play with up to 10 people, 20. You can play with a lot of people.
I mean, at that point, it seems like it does basically become like an Are You a Werewolf thing.
Yeah.
Although
It's really complicated.
once handshakes are made,
Right.
game has to be done. Right?
Game is over entirely. If there's any robots anywhere, the robots win, even if the robot isn't the one shaking your hand.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you shoot the robot, in which case the robot loses and all the humans win. Yay.
I have a feeling that you could just have humans just shoot as many people as possible and hope you get all the robots.
That's one thing that I found out about this game is that people more often than not shoot each other. What we did is actually not typical.
It's because I'm a human and I'm trusting. Right?
Yeah. just like most humans. Sure. Not me, though. I usually shoot first, ask questions later.
I thought you were low spite.
Not in this game.
Wow.
This is Are You a Robot?
You turn around on a dime, almost like you're a robot following its
It
programming.
depends on the game. If it's Are You a Robot, either you win or you die. All right, now let's move on to my favorite game, and I would argue probably the best game ever made. No, not Jaws. Yes, Space Base. Space Base. So
There are 2 boxes here. Why are there 2 boxes? You're confusing me.
Space Base is actually a game that came out last year, but the Command Station is an expansion, or more like an extension to the game, that came out really recently.
Extension.
Yes. So Space Base is a dice rolling game where you roll dice, get money.
A dice rolling
by
game
cards.
that you love.
Who knew? Roll dice, get money by cards. Roll dice, get money by cards. It's just rinse and repeat over and over and over again, getting lots of money. And then you spend that money on cards that you'll get, well, that you'll place on your board. So the next time you roll dice, maybe you activate that card you just bought, and you'll get even more money.
So like Machikoro-y?
Yes, very.
Okay.
It's like if Machikoro was in space.
Yeah, there's a lot of little dots here. So this is like way complicated Machikoro in space?
Sure.
Okay.
I would say it's much more complicated than Machikoro. The rule book is quite a hefty one compared to Machikoro. There's lots and lots of different symbols and icons and stuff that you have to like look up in the book once you're playing. But after a while, you get kind of used to what the arrows and the dice symbols and the boxes and all the seals
it
and
looks
stuff
like
that do.
the command station box is going to hold all the normal games.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a giant extension of the board game. So Space Base, of course, there's the core game, but then there's also the Shy Pluto expansion, #1 that just came out.
Yeah, Shy Pluto, as you do.
It's a special new place made specifically for the game. And the scientists and astronauts go investigate Shy Pluto to try to figure out if they should assimilate them into their galactic space force, or if they're evil, bent on galactic domination and the like war against them or something like that. So
Okay.
I don't want to spoil
Those
it
are
for
the
you.
only 2 choices.
Yeah, basically.
Assimilate or war.
Yeah,
Okay.
you never know. So I don't want to spoil anything for you. So you have to play the expansion yourself. It's kind of like a legacy style game. But once you're done, you have all the cards and the extra dice that it gives you, and all the base game stuff, and you can put it all inside the command station.
So there's also little
cubies.
Cubies. So
The cubes, but smaller.
Yep, cubies. And so you have these cards here. I'm assuming which number do you need to roll to activate it?
Okay,
Is that
so,
the cost there?
So at the top right, it tells you the sector number that card goes into. And the reason I say sector number is because the card might actually change sectors. Based on what you roll, you activate whatever's in that sector. So I might
are
roll
all the cards spaceships?
every single card is a spaceship that you're adding to your space base, and everybody gets their own space base to accumulate spaceships.
You're going to say space and base a lot when you describe this, aren't you?
It's a very necessary consequence of playing this game. Is you're going to be saying space and you're going to say base a lot, but you're also going to be saying dice a lot.
This is a spaceship aircraft carrier?
Is there a problem with that?
I mean, okay. All right.
Aircraft carriers are ships too.
Yeah, but you need a runway in space?
Maybe. What do you want to?
sure.
What if you want a dock for your dock?
Anyway.
Okay, so yeah, you roll the dice, you activate sectors. You're rolling 2 dice at once, so you might get 2 3s, and you can activate the 3 sector twice. Or you
Okay.
might get a 4 and a 3, and then you can activate the 7 sector,
So-
or the 3 or the 4. You have to choose
so
one of the 2.
I was about to say, because it kind of sounds like Kingdoms of Valeria, too.
Yeah. Valeria Card Kingdoms. Yeah, it's very similar to all those games that we mentioned.
Okay.
Catan, based on like die rolling and getting stuff. Machikoro, Valeria Card Kingdoms, lots of roll and gets.
Well, so then the next natural question. Spite.
Okay, so the command station adds in the ability to re-roll the dice when it's not your turn.
Okay.
So if you have built up a bunch of charge cubes on this little area, then you can spend them all and be like, I don't like that dice roll, I'm going to make you re-roll it. There are also some cards in the Shy Pluto expansion, as well as the base game, that allow you to affect what other people have. Like, oh, I get to buy an extra card, and all of you guys lose 4 victory points.
Wow.
And you can just like charge it up and use it again multiple times. Of course, you have to roll the right numbers to do that and use other special effects in order to gain the ability. But afterwards, yeah, I would say there is some spite, but not very much.
Okay.
One of the things
But
I like about this game,
going from the base one to this one,
Right.
increases spite.
increases it, yeah.
Okay.
It also increases the player count as well, because normally Space Base is a 2 to 5 player game, or 1 player game if you're like me.
And you just love dice?
Yeah, or you just like Space Base, or both. But now it increases it to 6 and 7 players, so you can play with a whole bunch of people all around the table. And because when you're rolling the dice, you are also activating cards that are above your board. You're also watching and waiting for other people to roll certain numbers.
Yeah,
so
I was about to say, is it like Valeria, where what you roll in your turn might trigger something on my turn?
Exactly, yes. So you're always engaged in the game. You're always interacting with something. Maybe you can only buy stuff on your own turn. Maybe you only get to roll the dice on your own turn.
But you still are accumulating things with other people's turns.
Exactly, and you're still making decisions about what to do next. And one of the things I like about this game is that you can really just do your own thing. If you don't want to play a spite kind of game, you can just buy the cards you want to and wait for everybody to take their turn and watch what they're doing, gather a bunch of stuff, pick your own strategy, sort of like base it off of how big the market is, what's out there, what you're going after and stuff like that, what you can afford, and then use that to determine your tactics and your strategy on what you're going to buy.
So again, because we talked about several games, particularly Valeria, Card Kingdoms, and Machikoro.
Yeah.
So like if you like those games but want something more complex, more gamery, is this a natural step?
Absolutely. It's an engine builder, and it's a game about hoarding lots of credits and income and things like that.
I have to align the lid properly.
That's nice. You hear that that nice like whoosh? Sounds like an engine taking off. Yeah.
An engine that you've built. Yeah.
Thank you, Derek. That was great.
Yeah, so like this is definitely like a step up from Machikoro, things like that.
Yeah. If you like any board game and you want to play the best one ever, do yourself a favor and play Space Base. You won't regret it.
Best one ever.
It's, in my humble opinion, and very, very, very biased opinion.
Important question to determine whether this is even eligible for best game ever.
Right.
What is the trader mechanic?
I hate to break it to you, Derek, but no. There's no trader mechanic, sorry. It's too good for traders. Space Base is my favorite game, and you guys should really check it out.
Sweet. Well, I think that is it for everything that you've brought. We have seen a lot of games. We have proven that I am a human.
Okay, yes, and you've proven that I am
shadow of a doubt.
Definitely a robot.
You are a dice robot.
I'm a dice robot.
You are Dicebot.
Disguised as a human.
Javion Dicebot Smith. Anything else you want to say before we let everyone go?
Thank you so much for having me on again. I was so excited to come by, and I was really excited to watch the Gen Con stream last couple of weeks. So
what did you watch?
I watched you guys, all the interviews that you guys did for all the new Gen Con games. That was probably my favorite part because I love learning about new games.
So you were in the Gen Con Studio channel mainly?
I was on the Gen Con Twitch stream mostly. I was just watching.
No, we had 3 channels.
Cool.
And Gen Con Studio is where most of the previews and interviews and stuff like that were. So it sounds like you spent most of your time there.
Yeah.
We had the Gen Con TV channel that was mostly live games and stuff like that. And then we had Gen Con Main Stage that was some rebroadcasts, but also some like big events like the costume contest and things like that.
Yeah, you guys did a whole lot of work for Gen Con. I mean, especially with like streaming and stuff like that, but also all the different panels that you guys ran and stuff like that. It was really cool to watch.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What was your, do you remember anything that was particularly favorite or a game that you saw that you're definitely going to want to go out and get?
We're Doomed is probably one of my new favorite games of all time. I love that aspect of just like governments trying to vie for survival, but also it's the prisoner's dilemma. So if everybody works together, everybody wins. But I've watched people play this game like 5 times. Nobody ever wins. Everybody's like, oh, I want to get lots of influence so I can get the best seat. Nobody wants to contribute to helping everybody win. So I like that, and I love party games and stuff like that. So,
but that's a Spidey game.
True.
Okay. All right.
I am not opposed to Spidey games.
You're exploring a whole new realm here.
I'm a very open-minded board gamer.
Sure, Dicebot.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope Wolvie will have you back again soon with a whole new batch of games. We'll
can't
see
wait.
how many dice games you can bring to that one.
I'm going to try to triple my dice output.
I almost
and I'm
feel-
going to triple the spite output as
I
well.
almost feel
We'll
like
see.
we need to have like a special, like Javion Dicebot Smith's Dice Hour, and we'll just only talk about dice games.
Can we just talk about like dice accessories, like glow-in-the-dark dice and like
You know what?
translucent
You know
dice
what?
and metal dice? Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's find some time for you to
Awesome.
come out and just dice it up.
I can't wait.
All right. We'll see when that happens. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Remember, next week we'll have Table Takes at 11 a.m. Pacific time, followed by New Release Rundown, which is what you're watching right now. And then on Monday nights, we have the Brothers Murph, who play through games with chat. They're very energetic guys. You should join them for a game. Try something out. And on Wednesdays, we have Fireside with Peter Atkinson, where he talks with somebody through the history of magic. I don't know if you've been watching that, but you absolutely should.
That sounds
Last
awesome.
week we had Dave Howell on, who had some crazy stories about how long it took the computer to plot out to print stuff back in the day, or how they had to fly a hard drive to Belgium to print the cards. Crazy stuff like that.
Wow, that sounds crazy. Yeah.
So subscribe to the channel, follow the channel, and keep in touch, and let us know what else you'd like to see. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.